And it says we're live.
Jim and I are watching Fox, and they've got a mother and daughter that are doing a segment. They're being interviewed about education versus politics on schooling. And folks, I'm here to tell you that some cloning lab needs a visit from the ethics committee and the loss of their research grant. Because I swear to God, the little one is a clone of the bigger one.
Yeah. Hang on, I got to tilt it up.
What?
Richard wants to see what the sign by the
Oh,
painting is. It's actually that's Mardi Gras. A signed Mardi Gras cover from I forget what year, 1990.
you've got a lot of Mardi Gras stuff in here.
Yeah, they're all signed too.
Of course they are.
Joel, good afternoon. Anyway, this we were watching this interview and it's freaky
Yeah.
how much the mother and daughter look like each other, act like each other,
Same lipstick.
everything.
If Mama had braces, they'd be identical.
Yeah.
Like I said, research or ethics committee and investigation into the research grant. Because damn,
Yeah, that cloning committee needs to have a chat with somebody. And Richard says, give Ian a whoopee.
why do I need a Wooby?
I don't know.
You know how many Woobies I've left across the state of Texas?
Hey, RK, good afternoon.
Whenever I had a breakup, I'd lose two things: my favorite hoodie and a Wooby.
Yeah.
They were calling Wayne one time and asking if I'd left my Wooby over at his house, and he said, "No, oh, did you break up with what's your name? Oh, damn it!"
Yeah. Not important to women,
Oh,
but they take them and run with them.
they're very important. Otherwise, they wouldn't glom onto them quite
Yeah.
so hard.
Yes. Anyway, what we were going to start with was I took there is an old house up on 287 going toward Amarillo that is intriguing, to put it mildly.
Oh, there's a lot of those.
Yeah. Well, this particular one, hey, Sanford. Yes, Jason, he's bragging about the number that he's left across Texas.
That's not a brag, trust me. You know how much I've coughed up in Wooby. Woobies aren't good. Woobies aren't cheap. Neither are good hoodies.
You know, RK says you're not getting mine. Nobody's getting it. Hey, Sarah C. Anyway, this whole house sits on the side of the road, and it's intrigued me ever since I've driven up that way. And I finally stopped and took a couple of pictures of it. And it's interesting when you get up close to it because it's actually two houses.
Mhm.
It's the right half of it is probably late 19th century, early 20th century. And it looks like it might have been a kit house. Maybe not.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close to railroad.
Yeah.
Because that's railroads how they delivered kit houses back in the 20s and 30s.
But the left side of it is actually an add-on.
Mhm.
And it's made out of 2x4s and one real 2x4s. I measured 2 inches by 4 inches, so real 2x4s. Yes, the other Sarah says, I thought a Wooby was child's favorite blankie. No. Since I'm not Army, I will let Ian explain the Woobies.
Wooby is a poncho liner.
Yeah.
Trust me, it is a source of comfort when you're out in the back of beyond freezing your chawongas off. You need a Wooby.
Yeah.
Throw away the poncho. The ponchos were useless. But man, a poncho liner was God's gift to the infantry and cavalry.
And RK says, no, Sarah, that's a binky.
Yeah,
Oh, well, yeah, that too. Of course, I've known some adults that needed their binky.
it's good. I'm pretty sure it's called a Wooby because some derisive sergeant or officer referred to it as somebody's Wooby, because I'm here to tell you, you'll get shanked over a poncho liner.
Yeah.
The one of the backstory that's come out is you will be cold without it.
Yeah.
But it was always a poncho liner when I was in, and by God, you hung on to your poncho liner.
Yeah.
And then there towards the end of my military service and the beginning of the the newest long war, it became a Wooby, and I adopted Wooby because for the name for a poncho liner because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It is a source of, especially if you let your significant other snuggle on the couch on it,
Yeah.
and then you're in the great back and beyond. Wooby
Yeah.
smells good.
Yeah. So anyway, enough about Woobies. So this old house, there have got to be a ton of stories, and
God, yes.
just love to find out what it was because the house was added on to at some point.
Family expanded.
Family expanded. Somebody else got it.
Third or fourth kid showed up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there wasn't a lot else to do at night.
Not out there wasn't.
Yeah. And I mean, this is up in the breaks in the Llano Estacado. So there was not much to do up there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's land that could be either farmed or ranched. Right now it's being farmed.
Well, back in the 20s and 30s, I think it would have been ranch land.
Yeah. And
So it's probably a line shack or
it may have been the main house.
okay, might have a small.
Well, there's a back to it too.
If it was small, those little bitty, 640 acre ranches.
Yeah.
That would be the main house at a one section.
Yeah.
In Western terms, a section of land is 1 square mile, 640 acres.
So the house was added on to, and it was built before electricity had been put in the area. Because
pre-40s.
Yeah, you can see on the front where they had the, we used to call them buttons, that you wrap the wire around so that it didn't shock anything and punch through the wall into the individual rooms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
But it just, that house has always struck me as curious because it sits by itself. The weeds are grown up around it. There's one old remnant of a cedar tree in front of it. And it just sits kind of up a little bit up the hill from the road.
I like to go around it with ground penetrating radar.
Yeah.
Find where the old outhouse was.
Yeah.
And see graves on the property.
Yeah.
Not to dig them up, but just, to find one of the most haunting things when I was working at the first bug scuffle. There are several. Up in ranch country, there are houses like that everywhere.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have been turned into what's colloquially known as a cow house.
Yeah.
They take the doors off and they leave an abandoned house open so that the cows can shelter. They'll put a bale of hay so the cows can shelter from blue northers.
Yeah.
Blue northers. And we had an A&M team come out from West Texas A&M. Got a nice archaeological thing there.
Yeah.
And they went around it with ground penetrating radar, and they found what was probably a grave 6 feet long, and 6 more next to it that were 3 feet long.
Yeah.
So
that was not unusual.
No. So it was probably 6 children,
babies that died. Yeah.
And may or may not have been the mother.
Yeah. Yeah, Richard, they're porcelain wire spacers, or as Sanford said, not in tube. Yeah. But it was interesting to see it exterior to the wall and then punch through the wall. Because when I was growing up, I helped neighbor's grandfather who did restorations on old houses. Because even in the 60s, there was a lot of money in that because those old houses were well built.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the things that we saw and learned the hard way, including grabbing wire that was supposedly not connected to anything, old cloth wrapped wire in the attic.
Make you turn loose in a hurry, won't it?
Oh, I turned loose when I went through the ceiling to the kitchen. And, after I got up, shook myself off and, I was cussing. And Mr. Brown came in and went, "What happened?" I said, "That frickin' wire is still alive up there." And he goes, "No, it's not." He says, "All of the old screw type fuses are out of the box."
Doesn't matter.
Well, we got to looking, and It was still alive because it never went through the fuse box. It came directly off the pole to the peak of the house.
Somebody jacklegged that.
Yeah, to a wire spacer and into the house.
Somebody jacklegged that.
Yeah.
A lot of those old houses up there in the Panhandle are disappearing.
Yeah.
Because
Well, the wood's worth a fortune.
exactly, the old houses, abandoned houses and barns. Most of the time, the companies that build houses for people too stupid to have as much money as they have.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they'll try to find who owns the house or owns the property and pay them for the wood.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of midnight
Requisition. Yeah.
Barns because the wood's all seasoned. It's all straight grain because they had they had enough straight grain lumber they could build a barn with it.
Yeah. Well, in South Carolina, that's been popular. Hey, Jonna, that's been popular for years because most of the barns down there were made out of, you ready for this? Heart pine
Oh,
and knotty pine.
wow.
I knew of one barn, and this was back in 2003, that there was a bidding war over, and he sold the barn for $160,000.
And whoever bought the barn pulled all the wood
Yeah.
intact and sold it for $500,000.
Oh, probably. They had to do a lot of cleanup on it. But
Well-
it was heart pine. The entire barn was heart pine, 2 inches by 12 feet.
Yep.
And probably 6, 8 inches wide. 2 inches thick by 12 feet long by 6 inches wide.
Well, one of the original houses on the old Goodnight. What the hell was Charlie Goodnight's ranch?
It was the Goodnight Ranch.
Goodnight. I can't remember what his brand was. Anyway, one of the original buildings that he put out there, he actually sent for Louisiana cypress.
Yeah.
And shipped Louisiana cypress all the way to the Texas Panhandle.
Oh.
And I remember that somebody found that and offered the current owner money for it, and he said, "No, I'm using it for cows."
Yeah.
He said, "You don't understand. That's straight grain Louisiana cypress."
Yeah.
And the rancher sat down all of a sudden.
Yeah. No, Sanford, not naughty, Knotty, pine. And I'm not going to ask what that girl did to you with that paddle she had. That boy ain't right.
I just blue screen to death.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I got Indian head test pattern behind my eyes right now.
Oh, yeah, Richard. Learned that going through Millington, Tennessee in 1970. We had a 2-story barracks next to ours that burned down 2 ashes in 8 minutes flat. And yes, it was a pine barracks. World War II temporary. We were living in the other one that was still a World War II temporary. But a friend of mine, well-seasoned fool, commented on my blog post this morning. He said, there is a group in Colorado that has a Facebook page called Old, Abandoned, and Interesting Places in Colorado. And yes, there are a lot of those places all over the West and the Southwest.
Disappearing quickly, though, I'm afraid.
Yeah. And it's, it makes you wonder what the stories are behind it. Did they succeed? Did they fail?
If we hadn't smashed the Trans-Texas corridor flat, the expansions to the major highways would have destroyed untold numbers of those old buildings.
Oh, yeah. And Sanford says she was a girl who preferred to receive rather than give. Greedy she was.
Again, Indian head test pattern. I just got my circuits back online. Stop it.
Man, it's going to be one of those blow up Ian days.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Ah.
Really?
But if you've ever been to the ghost towns out west, you can usually tell what they were for.
Yeah.
And there's usually some bits of history written down and posted where somebody could see it. But these old houses, who knows?
Well, one of the interesting things about the ghost.
JHA. Thanks, Sanford.
What's that?
Good night was JHA.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that brand.
I don't either. Now, JA was,
John was Adair.
that was Adair. That was a different ranch.
John and Cornelia Adair.
Yeah, that was a different branch.
JA still, JA is still in operation.
Yeah.
Trust me, they were part of my jurisdiction there for a long time.
Yeah, they were partners, Sanford, but they were two different ranches.
Yeah.
The JA and Goodnight were not not the same ranch.
JA was primarily Donnelly County, whereas Goodnight was
up in Potter County.
No, it was Claude.
Claude, yeah.
The hell's Claude? Armstrong County.
Yeah.
Had a brain cramp there for a second. It was primarily Armstrong heading into Randall County because Goodnight found the Paladuro Canyon and used that to winter his cattle.
Yeah.
And Adair didn't have a canyon like that to winter his cattle.
Yeah, RK, you're partially right. Adair had the land, and Goodnight did provide the cattle, but they later broke up, and JA was formed, and Goodnight
had a separate ranch.
Had a separate ranch that was 640,000 acres in Randall.
I've got access to some total human knowledge right here. I haven't.
Randall and Armstrong counties. Because the Goodnight Ranch, the original house, still exists up there, as does the JA's original house, although both of them have been expanded over the years. Yeah. And once again, the CDC has changed their friggin' minds. Now they're saying no mask needed outside if vaccinated. Gee, what a friggin' surprise. Especially since MIT came out with that peer-reviewed report last week that basically said, yeah, you don't need one outside.
Oh.
Yep, you're right, RK. Goodnight's cabin in Paladuro is still there.
Yep. I was incorrect. My apologies. He did partner with Adair, but after Adair died, they split the ranch. Goodnight took Kittiquay, and the widow Cornelia took Toole and Point South. So,
okay, well, I knew they had split.
At the same time, Goodnight established a small ranch on 160 sections, 160 square miles. Good God.
Yeah, that was a small
in Armstrong County.
Yeah.
North of Salt Fork of the Red, centered around Goodnight, Texas.
What was his brand? Does it say?
It doesn't. The Goodnight Thayer Cattle Company.
Because I know he had a separate brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Jason.
It was reabsorbed by the JA after
Goodnight died. Yeah, viruses. Jason's right. Viruses don't live that long in the heat, humidity, UV. Welcome to Texas and Florida.
It's really hard looking up because some jackass in Austin has started the Goodnight Ranch, which is a housing development in Austin, Texas.
Oh, for
so the first 5 pages of Google are about the housing development in Austin.
Yeah, RK, we know the brand is there. We just can't remember what the hell it was.
He had it on, I remember because he had it on Blue.
Yeah.
Charles Goodnight was famous. He had this, basically a Judas bull. He had a bull named Blue that knew the Goodnight Loving Trail.
Yeah.
And the cows he was taking to market Blue would just start walking. The cows would follow Blue. And instead of having all the work to drive the cows, they followed the alpha bull to the end of the Goodnight Loving Trail, and then the cowboys brought Blue back and nobody else.
Yeah.
And then next next market day, they did the same thing. All the cows just fall, the cattle blew up to the stockyards.
Oh, for frack's sake, I don't want the friggin' residential development.
I told you. Told you.
Yeah. Next time I go through Amarillo, I'm going to stop and check and find out what the damn answer is.
He may have just used the JA brand.
No, he didn't.
I,
Because I remember when we were up there looking at the doors,
well,
and there was a different brand. It
well,
was not the JA.
thing about the bigger cattle ranches, especially in Texas, is a lot of them have multiple brands.
Yeah.
You had the brand and the trail brand and the running brand and
Yeah.
a whole bunch of dumb
6666 was versions of sixes.
4 6s.
Yeah.
You had the 4 6s in a line. You had the 4 6s in a circle.
Yes. Sarah Singleton says, "Good night, Loving Trail sounds like a red light district." Yeah, if you consider what, the 1,500 miles from South Texas.
It was long enough that Charlie Goodnight had to invent the chuck wagon.
Yeah. It's about 1,500 miles from South Texas to Laramie, Wyoming.
Was it Laramie or Abilene, Kansas?
Now, it went all the way up.
Went to Laramie?
Yeah. Yeah, RK, I'm getting the same thing
right.
you are, JA brand, but it's not the damn JA.
It was the JA up until John Adair died. And then when Charlie Goodnight split off and took the Kittiquay, he would have had to change his brand.
Yeah. Richard, really? Well, those doe-eyed calves on a long night on the trail. And there went again, tripping offline. Yeah, California is losing a seat. So is New York. Texas is gaining 2. I think Florida's gaining 2.
Isn't Illinois losing one?
Huh?
Isn't Illinois losing one?
I think so.
I think Illinois, New York, New Jersey all losing.
Yeah.
Florida's gaining. Texas is gaining.
And left is already saying, well, they're just going to screw it up. They're going to gerrymander the districts.
Because it's exactly what the left would do if they were in power.
Well, and they're going to do in the 3 states where they have control that are getting more.
I didn't think they had any states that were getting their game.
I think there are 3 that they will impact.
Really?
I mean, it's like Sheila Jackson Lee's district down in Houston is 1 block wide and 4 miles long.
It's a street wide and 4 miles long.
Yeah. Trust me, Sarah, you're not the only one that won't shed a tear. Yeah. And the MIT study also is challenging the indoor social distancing.
Yes, it is. The thing is MIT's peer reviewed, which is great.
Yes.
It's, I was telling Jim earlier.
Well, we've been saying this for a friggin' year.
I was telling you earlier when I first got here is we've been saying this for how long? Since we've been vlogging.
Yeah.
We've been saying this. And I have been quietly derided, mansplained, and talked down to like I was a child for saying that social distancing doesn't work.
Yeah.
And now that I've got MIT saying social distancing doesn't work, ain't not a one I'm apologizing.
Nope, I never will.
No, they won't.
At least you didn't get cussed like I did.
Oh yeah, I did. I think by the same person.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Did that person haul off and preemptively block you?
Yeah.
Yeah, same one.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
I was part of the was part of the mass block that person did.
Yeah. I could care less. Didn't hurt my blood pressure at all.
I was amused because that person was taking shellacking for saying something stupid on my Facebook and got just lambasted and did a rage block on me and everybody else because when this person said, "Are you find friends you have?" and I pointed out, "You were the one that did this stupid insensitive thing. Suck it up, Buttercup."
Yeah.
And then that person disappeared from all Facebook. Like, oh, I've been blocked.
Well, and took a couple other people with them. So
I've been blocked.
Yeah. Yeah. Social distancing from Dems works. Don't have to hear their BS. Yeah, well, it depends on whether or not they've got their megaphones out.
They're loud.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, are they ever. But it's funny because now that we are being more or less proven right, if you want to say that, there won't be anybody saying, "Oh, you were right."
Yeah.
It'll
Well,
just be ignored.
there won't be anybody saying, "Wow, Ian and Jim, you were right when you said I was panicking. I'm so sorry for ignoring and going ahead and panicking." They're not going to do that.
No.
And that's okay. I really don't. It really doesn't punch me in the nose or pick my pocket or any of that stuff.
No.
But the same person, same people, there's multiple of them who panicked over this. I'm just waiting for the next thing they're going to panic over.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the better responses I've seen, a buddy of mine today sent me a copy of a flame war from the 1990s. One of the old internet flame wars.
If he's hung on to it for 30 years,
Yeah.
there were some ruffled feelings there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think he was delivering the SmackDown. Yeah.
If that was 30 years ago, people understand that was almost 30 years ago, right? 3 decades.
Yeah. But I figured that would be a fun one to throw up on the blog. Watch everybody go, well, what?
I just realized there are a considerable number of people who don't ever remember there not being internet.
Yeah. Welcome to getting old.
Oh, I think I'll go mainline some Jared's Hall and grab my walker real quick.
Yeah, well, while you're at it, Richard said to remind you about the two French Western characters, Doc Hollandaise and Kid Bernays.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Somebody had to dig down deep for that.
Commie BBS's for the win. Yeah, Jesse. I'm old enough to remember the real BBS's.
What was the pre-face MySpace? We need to bring back MySpace.
Yeah. Personal PCs, yeah. My first PC was an IBM AT.
Remember sacrificing a robot to access the internet and its
Yeah.
dying screams?
300 baud modems.
Doing, doing, doing.
Yeah. And then we got a 1200 mod. Jason, Chili the Kid, really?
Really reaching there.
Yeah. Well, I had my first email address in 1978. So I go back a while.
I tried to access my very first ever email address, which was a Yahoo account. And boy, howdy, do I not remember the password for that.
C64 running on
Commodore 64.
running 12.2. One phone line. Oh, yeah.
I can remember how excited I was when I wrote my first program in BASIC.
Yeah.
Which repeated the word Ian to infinity. And I was so thrilled.
An arcade. Oh, arcade. That goes back a while. The alt black helicopter site. You send people there to be with their own kind and then stop calling HQDAG2. Oh, geez, that's hilarious. I had not thought about that site in years. I remember CompuServe. We had some interesting going on in CompuServe. Yeah. Yeah, Sarah, none of us could afford to get into Bitcoin, so we didn't have to worry about losing a password. Apparently, that guy that lost the password to the $220 million never found it. So he's out $220 million.
Well, he probably spent $5 to buy the Bitcoin, and he's only out 220 because people. Well,
it was 220 million.
Yeah, it's what it's become. It didn't start out that. But one of the things that really blows my mind about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin and Dogecoin, whatever the hell, Muttcoin,
Dogecoin,
and the rest of them.
Dogecoin was started as a joke.
Is the people, the Venn diagram of the people that invest heavily in cryptocurrency, and the people that bitch online about fiat currency
Yeah.
is pretty much a solid circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about the ultimate fiat currency.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency is only worth what people say it is.
Yeah. Jason, you just outed yourself as being a new kid on the block. He says, I still use my first email account from dial-up to today.
Wow.
Yeah. Jesus.
I remember when AOL was a completely separate ecosystem,
Yeah.
and that fateful day when they opened up the gates and we got flooded with all the AOL kiddies.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of kiddies on AOL learned a lot of stuff that day.
Oh, yeah. RK says she still uses her original AOL email.
I can remember
Bless you.
Temple of the Screaming Electron.
Yeah.
And that place gave me nightmares. I don't know why I kept going back. But I remember when the AOL kiddies found Temple of the Screaming Electron,
Oh, yeah.
and a number of outraged shrieks that popped up was just gladdened the cockroaches in my heart.
Yeah. My first email address was all numbers and tied into an organization that's still kind of exists, not in the same form. But it was 75 baud and it was text only. Yeah, AOL drink coasters. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. And targets.
Yeah, good targets.
Because you get a can of 3M spray on adhesive, and you go down range, put a spray of 3M on the target, and slap the AOL coaster shiny side out to the head or center mass.
Yeah.
And by God, you couldn't miss that at 500 yards. There is the center of the target. You're going to see it.
Yeah, Vince, my first modem that I actually bought and paid for was a 300 baud modem. And if I remember, it cost me something like $300, which was a ton of money in those days.
I was actually fairly late to the computer game
Yeah.
or the internet game. My brother got in early, but I was too busy buying guns and going to gun school, which took up a lot of cash, people.
Yeah.
Gun school in the 90s was not cheap.
No.
And I didn't have money for it. When I visited Chris, I'd get on his computer every now and then. And then when I finally got hooked on bulletin board services, I would use the computer at the library at Amarillo until they finally started putting blocks on some of the places I was, because, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden I couldn't get there, and I was outraged.
Yeah. But today you can go to a university library and you can get on the dark web.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
It was all the dark web back when we
Yeah.
first started. Dark web was not.
Yeah. Yeah, Richard, you're dating yourself too. 45.5 baud teletype circuits. Yeah.
I have to say, though, the money I spent on gun schools was probably better
Than what you
a
would have
better
spent on a
investment
computer.
than what I would
Yeah.
a computer and internet time.
Well, I was lucky because I was stationed in California, so I could buy parts from the manufacturers right there. So it only cost me about $4,000 to build my first computer. Yeah, RK, we used to hang the AOL disk around the garden to keep the damn deer out of it. And it worked well.
Jesus, just remember some of the gun schools I went to. Morgan Consulting.
Damn, that goes back a ways.
Holy gods. Gun site under Colonel Cooper.
Yeah.
Morgan Consulting.
Now, those are people
Good
that
schools.
actually knew what they were doing.
Good schools.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, gunplay skill set is extremely lost the word.
No, RK, actually, I never liked Microsoft. I used DR-DOS.
Oh, extremely perishable.
Yeah.
And everything that Bill Jeans hammered into my head, I probably have to go back and relearn.
Yeah. But I bought hard drives from Western Digital. I bought the chips from Intel because they were right there in California. Uh, the boards themselves came from a place in Milpitas. The only thing that was a big dollar, really a big dollar, was the monitor, which was an NEC that I swear to God weighed 70 pounds. Jonna, really? 300 AOL desk that she was making into hot pads by crocheting over them with acrylic yarn?
Wow.
Oh,
Now the amount of scamming that went on, I say poor AOL, they can pound sand,
yeah,
but the amount of scamming that went on so that people would get free the free um, access to internet.
yeah,
Because what was it, 30 days free if you got the disc?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Richard, C prompt art. Oh, that brings back memories. C prompts and dot matrix printer art. Yeah. And you could shade it by using the green and white paper. So it would advance and you could do the shading. You could make it something really
Dot
look
matrix
good.
is so frustrating, even when it was high tech.
Yeah.
When it was cutting edge, dot matrix sucked.
Yeah, John, I can imagine acrylic and AOL CDs would melt under a hot pan.
Also, they don't stand up worth a damn at 308.
Yeah. Actually, this is where I'm going to say no comment to John. Oh, for fuck's sake. More spending?
Oh, yeah. Manchin, the West Virginia Democrat, is putting the brakes to the FICUS's
Yeah.
new infrastructure. But he defines infrastructure a lot differently than I do.
Yeah. 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 Any of us that know DOS commands, and DOS 3.3 was the only one where they ever printed a complete entire manual with every command in it.
Well, it was DOS. 3.2 seconds after they printed it, somebody had changed all of the commands.
Yeah.
Or invented new ones.
Yeah. But DOS still works today on Windows.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, Tom. 7.6 by 64 will do a great job of disassembling hard drives too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do with mine when I have to junk them.
Yep. I put a charge of buckshot because, let's face it, I don't care if you use DoD cutting edge overwrite.
Oh no, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work well. And folks, if you have a printer, having been on the investigation side of things,
it has a hard drive in it.
Most printers, especially the big Xerox business printers, have a hard drive and store every image that goes through there.
Yep.
So if you're ever going to get, and it wouldn't surprise me if the little printers these days, the little home printers do too. But if you ever, I mean ever, want to sell your printer, yank that friggin' hard drive and put a shotgun slug through it.
Yep. Yep.
Because there may have been an agency I may or may not have been somewhat affiliated with, who might have put up all of its office printers on for auction, and they got by somebody that knew what he was doing, and then may or may not have offered to sell us back our hard drives with pictures of why we needed to buy the hard drives back.
Yeah. Well, the Air Force sent theirs to DMRO.
That was dumb.
Yeah. And God knows how much classified Air Force material got sent to third parties because of those hard drives.
Well, one of the printers came out of CIA, Central or Criminal Investigations Division, and they had copied every case packet they'd ever. So right down to hell, they even copied the confidential informants list. So guess what was on the hard drive?
Yep.
Take the hard drive out of your printer and put a shotgun slug through it.
Oh, that's one I haven't heard in a while. 486 with a Burroughs OS on it. That was Army. Army was the only one that went with Burroughs, and nobody knew why.
Burroughs.
Yeah, Burroughs Machine Company. They had an operating system
Oh.
for computers. Yeah, Unix works pretty well. Yeah. So-
Which version?
yeah, well, that's the question.
Mhm.
Sarah was saying in the 90s, she had a psych professor that wanted to use Unix to run statistical analyses in psych. That does not compute. Yeah, Tom, I'm sure that was a great day. Take physical sledgehammers to the system boards and monitors for the old mainframe. Yeah,
I'll never forget going down to IT back in the bad old days when we first ever had an IT. I had no idea what the hell IT was.
yeah,
To reach in and grab a hold of that thing right there while I unscrew the how a flyback was when I woke up 2 hours later.
yeah.
And they thought it was funny.
Oh,
Sat in
arcade.
the corner, let me drool myself.
Yeah, Inscom went with Wang. Oh God, what was with the Army back then? They couldn't pick a system and use it. Yeah, the Navy rocks on everything. Yeah, you typed on carbon copies. Oh yes.
Oh God. Mimeographs.
Yeah.
Remember the
Well.
smell of mimeograph stuff?
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Get hiring a kite on that.
Staggering down the high school halls, bouncing from locker to locker.
Yeah.
Are you drunk? Mimeograph room.
Yeah. Remember, kids used to volunteer for that. Funny how many of them turned into dopers later in life.
It's because the mimeograph fluid baked half their brains.
Yeah. Although I told a story last week about John Gibson bringing out that original copy from June the 2nd, 1942 flight schedule. Yeah, thermite will burn metal, but it's got to get to the paper to burn it.
TH3.
Yeah.
ANN14 TH3. You got 2 seconds to get the hell away.
Yeah.
Big red, little red cylinder.
Yeah.
Pull a pin, toss it, and run like hell.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, back in the day, most of the computers you could remote into and fix them. Oh, RK, you're not the only one that's found stuff that was supposed to have been destroyed. Trust me.
Oh God.
The sad part is, and this was in 20. Well, I found out about it in 2010, but it had to have happened in 2007 or 8. We in the Mediterranean, we had operated in the Mediterranean for hell since World War II, basically. And we had tracks of everything that we had tracked in the Mediterranean over, might as well say 40 years. And it was categorized by type, where they went, when they went there, how long they stayed. And it was classified. So some people in their infinite wisdom said, oh, well, this is old crap. We don't need it anymore.
Oh God.
Yeah. The Cold War is over. We can get rid of all this stuff. And apparently in 2006 or 2007, they destroyed 5 safes worth of historical documents.
Ugh.
And I went out there in 2010 to run an exercise. And I had guys asking me, going, do you remember?
See that safe right? Where'd that safe go?
Yeah. And that was basically what I said. And then they told me it had been destroyed. And it's like, what? How could you possibly?
As an amateur historian, a lover of history,
Yeah.
it frustrates me to no end because peace is a temporary condition between wars.
Yes. And historical patterns are going to be followed.
And anybody that destroys, the Cold War is over. This stage of war is over.
Yeah.
Peace is a temporary human condition in between wars.
Yep. And the truly sad part was when certain players started coming back into the Med, they went right back to old habits.
Oh yeah, because that's what habits
Yeah.
are.
Yep, that's exactly what happened, RK. And
You have to rebuild all your
Yeah.
databases.
well, and in the meantime, there was nobody left that had flown over there at the height of the Cold War. So I found out later that every old fart like me that came through,
Was quizzed.
yeah,
Makes sense.
was handed a chart and said, put down what you remember.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
So we're watching history repeat itself because we got rid of the blueprint. Jackasses.
I'm sorry, handkerchief. That I put it up on Facebook and I put it up on MeWe
What's that?
that we're going to do this every Tuesday and Thursday.
We do.
Yeah.
We've done that for
Apparently,
a
he
year
had
now.
it scheduled. It was supposed to notify him, and it didn't.
Mhm.
Facebook doesn't like me anyway.
Well, Facebook's mad at me.
Yeah, and apparently YouTube don't like him.
No kidding.
But we try to do this every Tuesday and Thursday.
Yep.
We don't always make it, but we try.
We hit the mark more often than not.
Yeah. And it's enjoyable because of the interaction we see with you folks that are on here in comments. Well, let me clarify that.
Sometimes on break-even day, it's not so much fun.
Yeah. Richard said, history is like a mag-fed semi-automatic rifle. They both keep repeating. Yes, they do. Speaking of which,
What?
nah, never mind.
Okay.
Facebook is mad at everybody these days. Even your aunt, who is a God-fearing retired school librarian.
Well, there's
Sarah?
there's where she screwed up. She mentioned God Ferrick.
Eh.
And Facebook went, oh, evil.
Yeah. Well, John, if you're saying we're sanity, we need to talk.
We need to have a serious talk.
I mean, you were granted you were behind enemy lines, but
Even so,
yeah, we need to talk.
because trust me, anybody that's relying on us for sanity check, got bad news for you.
Yeah, Sarah, I think RK is right. It's the God-fearing that pissed off
Yep.
Facebook.
Yep.
Uh,
Facebook. Anybody figure out what the hell Zuckerberg's up to this time?
no,
That Facebook post about being so excited about a new project he
Yeah.
forgot to sleep is still making me nervous.
yeah, Jesse, for particular values of sanity.
Trust me, there are no values of sanity whatsoever that I'm a good reference for.
Well, if you put in front of it, maybe.
I shocked the hell out of Facebook, or somebody on Facebook. I think some snitch decided to rat me out to Facebook. I was at somebody else's thread, and Mad Michael Z. Williamson had something about the how many people have to die before you accept the mask mandate. And I posted a reply that was, no, what you're really asking is how many people have to die before I'll accept infringements on my civil rights or suspension of my civil rights. And I said the answer was all of them. And I think somebody had a meltdown.
Yeah.
Because Facebook doesn't like me right now. And the thing is, the Facebook algorithms don't have the stones to outright block me.
Yeah.
I haven't caught a Facebook ban yet.
Yeah.
And other people got Facebook banned for a lot less stuff than I
Oh,
do.
yeah. Yeah, I keep trying to get banned with some of the little snippets that I put up for under truth or question. So far I've only caught 124-hour ban.
Now I've had
But poor Miggy, every time he posts something, he
every
gets
time he
banned.
logs on, they just ban him.
And so does Larry.
Well, the there's a meme going around, and it's a picture of a lynching back in the 50s.
Yeah.
And there's two African American victims, and a crowd of people standing around, apparently enjoying the occasion. And every one of them has a number from 1 to 30.
Yeah.
And the meme is, why do I need a rifle that holds 30 rounds?
Yeah.
And then that's the picture.
Yeah.
And Facebook algorithms, for some reason, decided that I was in danger of committing suicide, pulled the picture, and sent me a link to 1-800 the suicide hotline. It's like, seriously, guys?
What did I miss? Or how many times has Ian said fuck on the air?
No, that was the first time so far.
Oh, damn it.
Actually, we just broke the seal.
Yeah, 26. Yeah, you want to kill grandma. That's what they've been telling us. However, most of the grandmas that I know want to kill those little shits.
Most of the grandmas I know are in assisted living. Every state has rules for assisted living and or residential care and or nursing homes.
Yeah.
Because I know. So 13 out of every 100 people is actually has grandma living with them. The other 87 have parked grandma in an assisted living facility where other people are taking care of her. So don't give me that bullshit.
All my grandmas are already dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
Well, considering both my grandmas lived at home until they died in their late 90s.
Well, that was a different time too.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another good point, RK. All the grandmas that I know have been vaccinated. Yep.
No, that's one of the things that you want to kill grandma. I know for a fact, bitch, your grandma's in an assisted care facility.
Yeah.
So don't give me that shit.
Yeah.
Interesting fact. Most of the men on my mom's side of the family died before the age of 50.
Yeah.
So do we need to check you for a pulse?
I'm on borrowed time. Well, they all died of unnatural causes. Vietnam, Korea, World War II. Yeah. So.
Well, depending on your perspective, that could be a natural cause too.
Yeah.
You said unnatural causes. I started giving you hairy eyebrows.
Yeah.
I had absolutely nothing to do with it. I've got alibis for most of them.
Unnatural causes. We executed the goat. What?
Yeah. Yeah. RK says, mom's 96, vaccinated, living with a sister, and she's healthier than her kids. Yeah. Most of them are.
No kidding. But that's one of, I went back and I took a look because I got tired of being told I've been told multiple times I wanted grandma to die. I went back and looked United States wide, how many grandmas were actually living with kids.
Yeah.
Nice try.
Yeah.
What I loved was everybody started screaming as soon as they closed the nursing homes and assisted living facilities. Suddenly, all these families were like, "But how can I visit my grandparents?" And they never visited.
Yeah, they never visited.
What really annoyed me was every time somebody would yak at me that I wanted to kill grandma because I wasn't wearing a mask. It's like, have you talked to Governor Cuomo?
Yeah.
Apparently, he really does want to kill your grandma.
Oh, God, yeah.
And apparently got it done more than once.
Yeah, well, as Richard said, living in New York, assisted living is fucking dangerous. Yeah.
No kidding.
Have they actually come up with a number yet on how many is responsible for?
No, they probably never will.
Something over 9,000 was last I heard.
Jesus.
Raptor says, my grandma parked herself in a 55 plus community 25 years ago, still assisted living in the same community. Said she's recruited enough friends to move into the community. They should comp her room and board. Sanford says, natural causes, isn't that a blonde pro with a 75-year-old client? And no.
Have I told you about when I was on organized crime and we did the
81-year-old?
The no-tell motel raid? We got the 81-year-old with the twin blondes in their 20s.
The hard part was getting the donkey out of the elevator.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, actually, you're not kidding. We had to get a block and tackle to get one off the second floor of the Camelot Motel in Amarillo.
They won't walk downstairs. They
No.
walk up and fall.
Yeah.
Block and tackle to get the donkey out of the. And we asked the guy that provided said donkey. He said, "Fuck you! I'm going to jail. Do it yourself."
And 26 says, Cuomo's holding the championship belt, followed by Gretchen Whitmer. Yeah, and New
Actually-
Jersey and
Actually, Italy currently has the
belt. Yeah,
the world grand champion belt for whacking grandma.
Yeah, they were about 8 blocks behind the catching up with COVID the entire time.
yeah,
It was
Italy,
just- yeah.
Italy was. You remember I did that article that I got roasted for on the numbers coming out of Italy
Yeah.
were squirrely.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out quite later that they had put everybody with COVID into assisted living and nursing homes. All the bodies stacking up were grandma and grandpa.
Oh. Oh, Tom goes, getting a donkey out of the elevator is easy. Just offer him a carrot, not that carrot, the other carrot.
No, we did. I went to the lieutenant and I said, do we really need to charge this guy? He said, it's prostitution. I said, twins, 22 years old. He went, well, is he watching? And we went to the twins said, does he? No, he participates. You're not serious. 3 times a week, uses his retirement money. And the lieutenant said, give him a medal and cut him loose.
Yeah.
His entire welfare check goes.
No, he was a railroad retiree.
Oh,
And he was a widower because I sat down. I said,
you know why he's a widower.
Yeah.
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 He did his wife did. I'm sorry.
And Rafter says, Ian, that needs to go in Law Dog Files 3.
And,
Sarah says, Law Dog Files, the After Dark edition.
Yeah.
and I sat down and asked him because I was genuinely curious. He said, son, I'm 81 years old. Good bourbon and blondes
This is
are the only, it's like,
Well,
yes, sir, go forth and sin no
the
more.
only thing I like anymore.
this is pre-Viagra too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy crap! Yeah, you pat that man on the back and you
That's
make it
like
build a shrine.
Lieutenant,
for
like
him.
Lieutenant said, give him a medal and cut him loose.
And Sanford says, I must admit, talking about the donkey made me look for the Indian head test pattern. I slipped off to Tijuana at 16. Yeah.
The donkey
Oh.
show, the famous, the infamous.
Infamous donkey.
Donkey
I
show.
never, actually, I still think
I've
that,
seen that.
okay. I still think that's a urban legend.
No,
'cause I
it is-
actually looked.
It is not an urban
I
legend.
hate to
Trust me.
admit that.
It is not.
When
And I will never get that,
when I
never
was
get that
flying-
out of my
Yeah,
head.
when I was flying cargo, we spent a lot of time staying in border
Mhm.
towns because that's where they'd stop the airplane.
Yeah.
Right.
And there were a few perambulations across the border to the south, and
Staggering back to the north.
yes, there is definite evidence of donkey show.
I hear about it, but apparently the redheaded, green-eyed, pale gringos, he's a cop.
Yeah.
Apparently, some things aren't even legal in Mexico.
Richard brings up an excellent point.
Uh-oh.
There were Civil War veterans getting married in the 1920s.
Mhm.
So they were,
There's still a Civil War widow receiving a VA pension.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I got one of my newsletters. She's like 80.
Yeah.
something. A Civil War veteran.
Some of the Civil War veterans were the drummers, though, and those kids
Yeah.
tended to be 12, 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Oh, that's what the case was here.
yeah.
He joined.
he
when
was a
12.
drummer. Yeah.
He was a drummer when he was 12 and got married in his 80s.
Yeah.
She
And
was-
Richard says,
she
Tim
was a
Conway's
Civil
Siamese elephant story.
Oh,
That
God.
is the
Oh
best.
my God.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that is the best. That-
If you have not seen that, it's available on YouTube. Go look
Yeah, I
look it
know.
up.
The whole,
There-
you need the whole skit.
The thing
Yeah.
is, there's 2 versions of it, and
Yeah.
it's in one video because what they did was they would do a rehearsal kind of semi-taped
Yeah.
version,
Yeah.
and then they do it in front of the live audience.
Yeah.
And apparently,
There's at the end of the second one in front of the live audience. What's her name?
Vicky Lawrence.
Vicky Lawrence says, "Is that little shit done yet?"
asshole,
Yeah.
that little asshole.
Oh,
Sure,
oh,
sure,
yeah.
sure,
That was
asshole,
it.
sure.
That was it. Dick Van Dyke was on the floor. Tim Conway was on the floor.
Well,
Kurt Burnett was on the floor.
Yeah.
They did a interview with Vicki Lawrence. She said that Tim Conway every time would do the rehearsal semi-straight.
Yeah.
And then the actual live, he'd go off the rails.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. They get notes from the producer saying, "Hang on to your hat."
Yep.
That's 'cause-
Yeah, apparently for the live, he'd go off the rails. They never knew. The Harvey Keitel apparently got it the worst.
Yeah.
Because the dentist the dentist skit where
Yeah, not,
Oh,
not
yeah.
Harvey Keitel, Harvey Korman.
Harvey
Yeah,
Korman,
the dentist skit.
because he did the dentist skit during rehearsal. He did it straight, and
Yeah.
then the rest of it was ad libbed.
Yeah.
And poor Harvey Korman just
The other one was when Tim Conway does the old man, and
Yeah.
he was a fireman, and he was rescuing Harvey Korman.
Yeah.
And Harvey Korman gets smoke inhalation,
well, and there's the
and you
one.
can see Tim Conway's barely hanging
Hanging
on.
on,
to it.
yeah.
It's
Well, there's one where Tim Conway and there's some famous He-Man actor from the time was guest starring on the Carol Burnett show. You had Tim Conway was Gestapo, and he was interrogating this.
Yes,
and he
and he had
brings
the
out
little-
the
the little
Hitler
puppet,
doll, the
yes, yes.
Hitler doll.
Yeah.
And you can see the actor stops it. You can see him look at the producer with this. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yes,
And-
Corman did pee his pants during the dentist sketch. He was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
And yes, Tim Conway did say that was his proudest moment.
Yes.
Because Tim Conway would go into some of these skits with Harvey Korman. The only purpose was to get Korman to completely lose it.
Oh, yeah.
That was apparently Tim Conway's goal every time.
Well, how many times did he have not only Vicki Lawrence, but everybody else
Oh, yeah.
hanging, falling off the couch?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Nobody can look at the camera. Nobody can look at the
Yeah.
audience. They're all down like this because they're
Yeah.
laughing so hard.
Yeah.
But
And it was clean humor.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, ish.
Ish. Well, yeah.
And yeah,
I mean,
I love watching because Tim Conway is a master of
Yeah.
physical comedy. And I love watching the reactions of everybody else.
Yeah.
Especially during the elephant skit, because you can see Carol Burnett she does that, and she looks off stage, and she does this.
She's
Yeah.
trying. She's
What
trying
she's
to
doing
move
this?
on.
What the hell?
Yeah.
She's
And
trying
there
to
he
move
goes.
on. It just doesn't happen.
Sure, the asshole's through yet, and that was done.
Apparently, Vicky did that in character.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, Jason, that's just mean. He had a young secretary that was trying to use our phone's intercom system, referred to her as Mrs. Wiggins. She didn't get it, but my boss and I did. Oh,
This is Wiggins.
Mrs. Wiggins. Yes.
Oh God.
Well, folks, we've wasted another hour of your
oh my
time.
God, we have.
Appreciate all the comments. And seriously, if you have not seen the Siamese elephant, go look it up and watch it.
YouTube, Tim
Yeah.
Conway elephant skit.
Yeah.
And watch it all. It's long. It really is, because
And make sure you don't have anything drinkable near you.
and understand that he ad-libbed
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, you think Robin Williams was good with ad libs.
Oh, he had Patrick Tim Conway.
Yeah. Tim
And
Conway was
and
the master.
The dentist skit. Again,
Yeah.
it's a long one. There are chopped up versions. You need the long, unedited version
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
dentist skit.
Yeah. And as Raptor says, don't eat anything either.
No, don't be drinking when you watch
Yeah.
it, because
All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it.
okay, everybody. Thursday,
Yeah.
noon Central Time.
Yes.
Central Time. That's the one that goes through Texas.
Yeah. And
Got some questions?
looks like we've got some weather coming in, so y'all take care.
Be
Make
safe,
sure
guys.
you buckle down if necessary. And remember, as always, don't pet the sweaty stuff, don't sweat the petty stuff. We'll see you later. Bye.